You got it this time?
Yeah, this time. I never do the intro.
Wow, look at this.
Yeah.
I feel special.
I know. All right, man. All right, guys. Welcome back to a podcast. My name is Jorge.
My name is Alan.
And then today we got Ryan in the house. We're going to talk a little bit about street photography and photography in general. So let's go.
Oh, we had a bet going on right before you walked in, because I posted something on our story, and what did you call it?
Street photography.
Street photography, and I was like, I think it's
portrait.
It's portraits. It's not street photography. I'm like, every video that he has, when he goes up to people, he says, "Hey, could I take a portrait of you?" But then, and I showed him, and you did say that, but I checked on your bio, and you call it both technically.
Yeah.
What would you say the difference between the two is?
Yeah, so there's probably, I guess first of all, I'm not the type to like I guess I'm not like the authority to like define these things. Mm-hmm. But to me, I'll just say what I think of when I go out and do it. So street photography to me is more like candid, where I'm out on the streets. I'm not really talking to people. I'm more just shooting. Mm-hmm. And then a portrait is something where I'm very specifically going up to someone and asking them like, hey, I like your style. Can I take a portrait? And then I'm taking a very like, I'm trying to capture their essence and kind of within a portrait. So
I see.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So to me, I do both. Like sometimes I go out and I just want to shoot, and I don't want to like do the high intensity of like approaching people and doing that. I'll just like want to shoot, and to me, that's street photography.
So like the picture of the bridges you just took.
Exactly.
Okay.
Like there, I'm just like candid, taking shots.
Because we tried doing a small clip before you came in, kind of what you did on like.
Did you watch it?
I don't know if.
Did you get a chance to watch it?
Yeah. Okay, on your story.
Yeah, what do you think I can make a living off of that, or you think I need some practice?
On the approach?
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, portrait. I was like, there's not a portrait, it's street.
Yeah.
He's like, no, he says this. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Damn, I don't know.
I was just trying to copy and paste, but I don't know if it did good.
It was great. It was great. Yeah.
Speaking of that, like, were you always someone that went up to people? Are you like shy at all, or
no? Oh, so I am definitely. I wouldn't say I'm like shy, but I'm definitely introverted.
Okay.
And I was not the type to go approach.
Okay.
Except when I was like single, and I would like approach in that sense and like talk to new people.
Yeah.
And that I even had to like build myself up to do that.
Yeah. This
is completely a different thing when I'm approaching for portraits.
Yeah.
And I would say that it's like jumping into the deep end for me. And I'm definitely introverted, and like it's not natural for me to approach in this way. So, yeah.
I don't know. You make it seem pretty natural.
Smooth, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, we were just practicing, me and him. I'm like, dude, no, it's not the way you do it. I was like, dude, it's hard.
You're getting in your head.
Yeah, it's probably that. It's probably that. But it's a little, I don't know. It's different. I just, like you said, I'm not the type of person that would go up and say, hey, let me take a picture or anything like that. So it must take some courage or practice or.
I think, I look back to when I started, and I think I've gotten better for sure. Because when I first started, it was hard to even. Like the interaction would happen so fast because I was so like stressed about it, and so it was so overwhelming. So like I would go and be like, "Hey, I do portraits around Portland," and then like it just felt like I was underwater, and I like had to, because I was new to photography too, and I was like trying to take pictures, and I was like just overwhelmed. So that suddenly 5 minutes goes by and it's over, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what, like if these photographs can I use them? What is the video going to look like? But nowadays, I've been doing it like 8 months now, and I'm really in the zone now.
Yeah.
So like I can approach someone who I want to do a portrait of, and I'm like, I'm not like, I'm very focused now. And I can take my time while I'm working when I'm doing the portraits. I don't feel like I'm completely lost. So yeah, I think I've gotten better as I've done it more.
What do you look for? So let's say you're out in the street, you have your camera. Are you just kind of like looking around, people walking, people watching, or are you just walking and the first person you see, or are you looking for a particular style, or?
Yeah, so it could be a number of things.
So for example, Like, let's say you did someone that's kind of like punk rock. Are you looking for a different type of person the next day or that same day? Or
No,
you don't,
no, it's
you don't
not
look
like
at it that way.
at
Okay.
all. Yeah. It's like, and also you ask like, do I just approach the first person I see? And
Yeah.
it's definitely not like
Okay.
that. Like the way I started was, I would be out for 2 to 3 hours, and I might get 1 or 2 portraits. And if I got 2 portraits after 3 hours, I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm very like, I guess, selective in the subjects I choose, because one, it takes a lot of time to like edit everything, make the video. And then secondly, I want to be like completely invested in making it awesome. And for me, that's like the whole experience wrapped up, which means like the subject I choose has to be like right to me. It has to feel right. So I don't want to just be like a high volume portrait guy, you know. Like I want to be completely invested in each portrait I do. So like an example of something that would draw, like there's a few different things. It could be the style, some of the way someone just looks while they're walking. It could be a feature like bright red hair, colored hair, anything that kind of draws my attention.
Okay.
And then there's this like pulling sensation I get when I'm walking by someone I want to do a portrait of, where I like really feel this like, oh, like this is perfect.
Yeah.
This is perfect. And I would say like when I first started, when I'd get that pulling sensation, I would approach like 50% of the time, because the nerves would overtake that.
Yeah.
And the other 50%, I'd be like, I'd just freeze. I'm gonna say something. I walk by and they just keep walking and I keep walking.
Okay.
And I'm like, and then I kick myself like, man, that was like such a good opportunity. Yeah. But nowadays it's like 95% of the time.
Yeah.
I'm like doing the approach when I feel it. So, yeah.
How many people do you approach a day?
Well, so there, like back when I started, it was rare, very rare, because I was like super selective. I don't know how to describe it, but I just like had this image of like what I wanted out of portraits. And that there was like a specific day where I was downtown. I was like by PSU, and I was kind of frustrated because I had gotten like 10 no's in a row, and like the previous 2 or 3 times I went out, and I was a little frustrated, and I started thinking like, why am I like being so selective? And because sometimes I'd go home with nothing, and that's a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
Because I was out, like it's okay. First of all, it's not horrible. It's like it's more like I'm out to do this thing and I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And like it's still nice to like walk around downtown and like you get some exercise. But like my goal is to get portraits, and I'm not getting portraits.
Yeah.
So one day I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna totally expand like what I think I want out of subjects, and just like start approaching more people. And that day I went home with like 6 portraits.
Yeah.
Which to me is like, I think the most I ever got before that was 3. And some of them were like became my favorites.
Really?
Because it was totally outside of like my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then I realized after that day, like, oh, like I need to push myself and like not just go for what I know is going to be right for me, but like expand and open it up to every type of person. And after that day, I just became way more efficient. And like, so I'm bringing home 5 to 6 portraits every time I go out, sometimes in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a
more.
lot. That's a lot.
Let me take this back a little bit. So you said you've only been doing this for 8 months.
Yeah.
Was that the first time you picked up a camera?
Camera, yeah, I got a. Well, okay, so for photography, basically, that's the first time. But I wasn't doing portraits to start. I bought a camera probably like 10 months ago. Maybe I forget when. It was like last June or something around there. And then I like got addicted to street photography. I was like binge watching this YouTube series about street photography, and I like went out and did it that day kind of thing. And I got addicted to that. and it was really difficult. It's like really hard to do candid photography well, I think. And I had very little skills at all. I was like, oh my gosh, like, it was rough. But there were times where I'd like pass someone and be like, oh, this would be cool if I did like a portrait of this person in a more controlled way instead of trying to like candidly shoot a picture.
Yeah.
So that's where, I started portraits before I had the GoPro, and I was just doing the photographs. And then when I was doing the portraits, I realized there was like a huge story arc to each one I'd do. That no one else would know about except me and the subject, because all they see is the end product, the photograph. So, and I had obviously seen like other creators doing these kind of videos as well. So like in my head, I was like, oh, this makes sense. Like why I understood why it's so compelling to like have the GoPro set up and just like have the whole story told.
That's where the emotional part comes in. I think that's what makes the video great. They're just the reaction. They're like, most of them are like, why would you want to take a picture of me? Like I'm not.
I noticed when you started, because I started following you in my personal, and I noticed that you took pictures of like bridges or stores, and then you would take portraits of people, but it didn't have a story with it. I noticed that after you started doing the story, like the whole talk, your account just started blowing up.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
Yeah, and from there I was like, oh damn, like this is good. I told him about your account a while back. You know, I was like, this is he our biggest Instagram following that we have in our show?
Yeah, for sure.
You have like 190,000.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
How is that? Do you?
In 8 months.
Yeah, in 8 months.
That.
Yeah, 8 months ago I probably had 100 followers. So yeah.
Do you get a lot of messages, like a lot of DMs?
Unbelievably. Like
let's say a day.
Uncontrolled. I can't. It's a constant like I feel bad because I don't respond to 95% of them.
Oh, damn.
And it's like, so part of me feels bad because you want to like be there to communicate with people, but then also it's just doesn't make sense to be able to respond to everyone. Yeah. And like it's a lot of like thank you, you know, stuff like that, and I try, but it's like the thing where you're never gonna catch up, you know, because like every day it builds on itself, so it's like okay,
kind of like having 2,000 emails.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it feels like that.
Yeah,
I'm that way. I my inbox, if you see
43,000 emails.
I got like 83,000 unread emails.
I'm the type of guy that doesn't like to see like the little number on any of my apps. Yeah. So I'm like, I hate that.
I'm the same way.
So when I see his 43,000 emails, I'm like, bro, get rid of that.
Yeah.
But
I think I keep them just to bug them at this point.
But going back, like for instance, like you get over 100 messages, less than that, or like
a day, or no, it's probably like 20ish.
20, and so it just built.
Yeah, and then but
that's overwhelming.
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah. It's like, it's too much. Yeah. And I definitely like scroll through, and I'm like, because you'll get stuff like this where hey, do you want to do? And really, I probably need like a business email or something. Yeah. Because I know stuff's going through the cracks. But I definitely look at them, but there's a lot of similar themes in the messages. Like, they like the stuff, they like the work. A lot of questions about like photography, like
I see.
I need advice.
What camera are you using? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Help me with settings.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can you help me with my settings?
100%. That's like a big part of it is other photographers. So, but yeah, when I started, I just never imagined that, because I remember like I hit 100 followers, and I was like celebrating. Yeah. You know, I was like in Bend, I remember. Yeah. And I was like on vacation, and I was like, 100 followers, like, like feeling good. Yeah. And then probably like when I hit 1,000 was another celebration. Yeah. And then after that, it was like 5,000, 10,000, and then once I hit like 50K, it stopped. Like, it was like 100K. I was like, whoa, 100K. Yeah. And then after a while, it's just like, you don't think about it anymore. Yeah. It just becomes like part of what's happening. And then to me, it's more, what I really love is the work. Like I love doing the portraits and I love making the videos. So this like the Instagram stuff is like this secondary kind of, it's like this thing that's happening all the time without me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you were talking about your inbox. You said that most of them look the same. They're pretty generic. What's
Well, I don't want to say that. Like they don't all look the same, but there's like themes.
their themes. So
Yeah.
what would be what would be good advice for someone that wants to reach out to someone like you? Do you have any advice on how to like stand out?
I mean, some people will have like stories about their life that to me is really interesting, or like, you know, there's a difference between someone being like, I love your work, and like keep it up, and I'm like, hey, thanks, and then like, hey, here's my story about why this is impactful to me, and like, anyways, I love what you do, thanks, and like that kind of longer stuff is like, that's when I'm like, whoa, this, like, someone took the time to really sit down and like craft this, and that's cool. They're all cool to me. Like I'm happy about all of it, and like I don't want to make it seem like I'm like, oh yeah, it's only one sentence. Like I'm not going to respond to that. It's more like I'm super blessed to be in this position.
For sure, but I get it. I mean, 20 messages a day. I mean, in a week, I mean, you're getting over a couple hundred messages. So I mean, at a certain point, when
Plus
it says,
all the
"Hey, I
things
love
that
your
you're doing
hey, I love
in
your
life, you know,
I mean,
text messages too.
text messages too. I mean,
Your personal
you have
stuff,
multiple
so-
social medias. I mean, you have a TikTok. So I mean, I'm sure it's the same thing. It's a lot. That's just a lot to keep up with.
What did you think about ours? Hey, come to our podcast. I was like, who are these
Who the hell are
guys?
these guys?
Hey,
Well, I mean,
I messaged
think
you on
it's
your
on
live.
live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I messaged you on the live. You're like, oh yeah, I don't know what you said. Podcast, email me or DM me.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna DM you. So
Yeah.
he DM'd you.
that's a good way though, is live.
Yeah.
If you really want to talk to me, like live, because I'm there, I'm looking at the phone and like responding pretty quickly. So if you really want to message me, go on one of my lives. And, like,
Yeah.
But also like message me if you want, and like I'm always happy to get messages. Don't get me wrong.
For sure.
So, but yeah, you're live. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
Who
And like
these
I'm
guys?
interested in doing like podcasts
Yeah.
and interviews because I feel like I'm well, that introverted part of me, you know, and I like need practice and I want to do it more. So anytime someone's like, hey, interview or podcast, I'm like usually saying yes.
People gotta know who's behind the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't like. I like being behind the camera.
Yeah,
honestly.
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
You've been showing up more in front of the camera
Yeah.
recently, though.
Yeah.
In the last several videos, I've seen
Yeah.
it a lot more.
It's like I almost have to though for those, because they're like, hey, I was doing a live and this person came and like I could probably like decrease the amount I'm on it, but then again, I also want to tell the story, and to me that's more important than like my awkwardness of feeling like I want the movies to like, or the videos to like speak for themselves without like it's weird because I feel like a secondary character in all my videos, which I like.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
cool because it kind of gives it a little bit of a mystery to it too.
It does.
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
Earlier, you were saying that when you first started, that you would only, I mean, sometimes you would go home with nothing, and sometimes it would be 3,
Yeah.
and then you did a little bit of a change where you weren't so specific, and it went up to 6 that one day, I think.
Yeah.
Do you remember one person that you kind of felt that like that urge to like go up to, but then you just didn't have the guts to, and then that you kicked yourself for not going up
Oh,
to that
that's
specific
happened
person?
so many times.
Do you have a story you want to tell about one specific person that happened to?
I don't. It's weird because they all like blend. This is the thing. Like I don't know how many people I've approached, but they like once you get up past a certain point, it's like hard to remember like specifics that didn't happen. Like I remember all the videos I did make because like I spent a lot of time with them.
Yeah.
But the ones I didn't make are a little harder. What I do remember is a lot of no's.
Yeah.
Like I can remember almost every no I've gotten because those are interesting.
What's the harshest no you got? Can you talk about that?
I get like, hey, are people like rude to you or like and I've never had a negative experience with the portraits where I'm like going up to someone and talking to them. except the most like intense no's are when I'm like, hey, excuse me, and I'm like, hey, excuse me, and they like look at me and kind of like look at everything, and then they're like turn their head and keep walking.
Yeah.
No, like those like it's weird because like I have no expectations. Like I know that people I like when I go into it, I feel like I know they don't owe me anything. Like they don't even owe me a second of their time. So like that's the mindset I go into all my portraits with. So in one way, I completely understand when someone looks at me and keeps walking. But then secondly, I'm like human, and I still feel like, oh man, like it's like a bee sting kind of pain. It's not like I'm not like in a major depressive moment about it. It's more like something I have to walk off.
Yeah.
But it also makes me like question what I'm doing, which like is the hardest part for me. Like, God, I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, why am I putting myself through this? Because it's not easy. It's not easy. And but then I just walk it off. Like every time, I'm like, don't quit, walk it off, and then the next good interaction wipes away like all of that negative feeling. So yeah.
That's something I guess people don't know or realize behind the scenes. Do you still get a lot of no's nowadays?
It's like 80% yes, 20%
so
no, and it's
that's a
like
good ratio.
always been.
And then it's always been like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like there was one section this winter where it was like by PSU, and it was like 10 no's in a row, and that was interesting. I like went and got a haircut and like started like, how am I looking? Like, do I look like like I want to look sharp and like.
Yeah.
Because people don't know who I am,
Exactly.
it's like that first impression is really important. So,
Some of your videos nowadays, everybody already kind of knows who you are. I've noticed
Yeah.
that the last few
Yeah.
videos, like, oh, I follow you, and they get excited and stuff. My wife goes to PSU, so I'm like, hey, have you ever seen a street photographer? Someone approaches you, just say yes right away.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna get Kip now. She says, I'm like, just say yes. Someone approaches you, just say yes. Starts laughing. I don't know. She was watching your videos, so she liked them too. So I was like,
That's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. It was funny. But yeah, dude.
So we talked about now the no's don't really bother you as much, right?
Well, they still bother me. It's just I know how to handle it now.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I could like really get in a funk for a while. Like nowadays, I'm like, all right, it happened. Let's move on, kind of thing.
I think it'd be easier to move on now, though, right? Because I mean, now you see how many people like are liking your videos, so you're like, I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you would get that feeling at least. Right?
I mean, yeah, it's like the feeling like, hey, I've been here before. Like, let's move on, kind of thing. And like, not everyone's gonna want to have their photo taken by some like stranger on the street. Like, I wouldn't. Like when I think about it, like if someone approached me like that, I'd be like, oh no, I'm good.
Have you taken portraits of people and then not posted them?
Yeah, that's happened. Yeah,
it's just because
mainly early on when I first started, and like my skill set with the camera is so bad.
Okay.
Like I just feel like I screwed up, or like the lighting sucked, and like I've never like, it's always been my problem, like some technical problem. One time it was just way too dark, and like I actually reached out to her after and was like, hey, I screwed up the photos, like let's meet up and we'll do like a planned photo shoot.
Yeah.
And like I posted that video, and then I had to like explain what happened in the video because like I always want to be authentic. Like everything I do is 100% impromptu.
Okay.
And so like for that one, when I did a planned shoot, I wanted to make sure to be like, hey, I screwed up the impromptu one, so now we're meeting for a planned shoot. Oh, sorry. So yeah. So, but that's only happened once. Like where I've
you spend a lot of time editing, right?
Yeah.
What program do you use, or do you
I
use
use-
multiple?
I use for photos. I use Lightroom,
Lightroom.
and then for the video, I use DaVinci. DaVinci.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've
what
heard
is
of
it
that
called?
one. Yeah.
DaVinci Resolve.
Okay.
So it's like a free. It's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when you go on vacation, you were saying you went to Bend a while ago. Do you always take your camera with you and try to take portraits of people, or is that something that you're like, nah, I do this kind of for work, so I don't want to do this when I'm out and about on vacation?
I think it's a mix. I haven't gone on many vacations. Like in Bend, I did bring it, and I
Okay.
did do portraits, but that was before I did GoPro. But we went to Ireland recently, and I decided not to bring it because I didn't want. Because like when I'm doing the portraits, I'm like focused on the portraits, and it's like I'm just doing it, and that's my work, you know, and. Yeah, when I was in Ireland, I didn't want it to be like that. Like, I just wanted to relax and enjoy the experience.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans on traveling for the photography?
I don't currently have plans, but
You don't get tired of just the same spots in Portland? There's
well,
just-
honestly, I go to like 3 spots, and I want to expand that. So it's like PSU, Hawthorne, and downtown Portland, like kind of Powell's Whole Foods area. So I really feel like I need to expand that. So yeah, I don't feel like I'm not bored of it yet.
Not burnt out
No.
on it?
I mean, I got burnt out once from this whole thing, and it was pretty recently, maybe like a month ago, where I was just like, and I think it was the portrait I was working on. It was like really difficult portrait for me, just like technically for me to get right, and I was just frustrated and like, man, I need to like, I don't want to do this right now, you know. And it was the first time I felt that way, so I just stepped away, and like I didn't launch a video for like 6 days, and which to me is like pretty long.
Yeah.
But then I finally finished it, and once I was finished with that, I was like back into it. So I think it was actually more the portrait itself that kind of threw me into a funk.
That's rough, because I think those funks are hard to get out of. Sometimes when I'm editing some videos, I dread it. I dread thinking about doing that, and then I procrastinate it, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to do it later today. Oh, I'm going to do it tonight. Oh, I'm going to wake up early, and I'm going to do it in the morning. And then next thing you know, it's been like 3 days, and I'm just like, oh, I don't even want to open it.
Yeah.
And then I open it, and then I start working on it. I'm like, it wasn't that bad.
Exactly.
It wasn't that bad, but I'm just like dreading it.
Yeah. The dread is real.
It is. How did you get out of that dread? I mean, I know 6 days doesn't sound like a lot, but I mean, to you, it was a big deal. So
To me, it's a huge deal, because like one of my things is I am super consistent, like in my work. Like I like to be productive, and I like to put out stuff, and I like building. It. So to me, it's like I'm super passionate about it. So that 6-day lag, to me is like, whoa, what's happening?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, whoa, am I tired of this already? It's only been 8 months,
Yeah.
and I'm growing so much.
Yeah.
Like, but really inside, I was like, maybe I should like quit. Maybe this is it. That thought came up, but it was pretty like short lived. So I got out of it honestly by finishing that portrait.
Yeah.
Like it was like a thing. I just didn't. The portrait turned out well. Like I think it turned out well. It's just I wasn't feeling it basically. So yeah,
it's hard.
it is.
That is
That's
hard.
tough.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of longer form content? Have you thought about that?
I'm trying to. So like I do the extended cuts.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So I'm like trying to do the full, because Instagram's actually interesting because they allow you to do over a minute, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is when you try to put that on a YouTube, like a YouTube short, that's stuck at a minute. So for me, there's sometimes, and then I've had different thoughts. Like, man, maybe I should try to make everything under a minute, because it's like a challenge. Because I want to tell the story as efficiently as possible and keep people into it. And to me, that's a big challenge, because like usually each video, like the interaction's 3 to 5 minutes, and then like the photographs on top of it. So really, I'm like condensing the story into like 40 seconds of video or less. And to me, that's super challenging. And then also, I don't want to have like different cuts for here's my Instagram cut, here's my YouTube cut. I have done that though for like ones that I'm like I'm just totally in love with some of the like my videos. I'm like, wow, this needs to be 1:15 and I'll have to make a YouTube cut. And I make a YouTube cut, and I'm like, oh, I hate this compared to the like 1:15. So, but it's just like the reality of the platforms.
Yeah, I see. You said that you really never done photography, right?
Yeah, a little bit of video.
Okay, I was gonna say, so
Yeah.
you done video before? Cause
Yeah.
you're editing. Okay.
And it was like when I was. Should I keep going?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You're good.
It was like when I was traveling. I went to Japan for a year, lived out there, and I was doing kind of these like music video montages with video. So I think that's where I like trained my eye.
Yeah.
I trained my eye there, but it wasn't photography specifically.
What took you to Japan?
I taught English there after college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was like just a cool experience, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do after college. So,
Yeah, that's nice. Did you learn any Japanese?
yeah, I did. I wasn't like fluent or anything, but I got somewhat okay by the time I left.
Yeah.
But it's been like I don't even know 18 years, so I forget almost everything.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't. Like I know some things, but not a lot nowadays.
What was your profession before videography?
I did marketing, so marketing for tech companies, and yeah, I was in pretty like high stressful jobs where I was like leading teams basically. I moved up to Seattle for my work. I was up there for 8 years.
Oh wow, you were there for a while.
And then came down back to Portland when everyone went like remote. So yeah, I'm like basically marketing.
Did you market like social media wise, or was it more like TV or?
Actually, yeah,
blogging?
it was. My specialty was paid marketing. So it would be like what you see on Google, like Google Ads, Instagram, Facebook. But then also at the end of my career was like more everything. So like TV, So it kind of changed throughout my career.
Do you think that for people that are in your field, do you think that paid ads are a good idea?
In my field,
Yeah, like the videography and photography.
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't have any opinion on that?
I'm sure.
I get mixed feelings when I ask people. Some people are like, no, it'd be better if it's natural, and then some people are like, no, you gotta blow that up and just kind of pay for ads as well.
I think it depends on like. It depends on your goal, and like if you're okay running at a loss. Like if you're using it just for audience, then and you're okay with that. Like I think you can get. I would never do it.
Yeah.
I would never do it. It's easy for me to say that now because I have a pretty massive following now. But I think like if you aren't doing it organically, then you should work on your content.
Yeah.
And I don't think like paying for it is. I think that might be a shortcut that probably won't pay off in the end, just because if you have to pay for it, then maybe your content needs work.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how I think about it. I see a lot of people who have good content, maybe not a big following. So, the reality is I feel like I got lucky too. It's hard for me to like look at my stuff and know if it's like I'm really critical of my own work. So I'm like, why did this get 5 million views and this get 40,000? And I look at all the analytics because I come from a marketing background, so like I know how to look into the data, and sometimes there's just like no rhyme or reason, and I'm like, that's just the algorithm. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But if it were me, I can't talk to like someone who wants it. I bet you there's someone out there who paid for followers or like paid ads,
And it worked.
and it worked.
Yeah.
Right. For me, it was more like, also it's so different because I did it as like, let's see what happens, organically. Let's just see what happens. I'm not gonna like throw a bunch of money at this because also I have I had no goal. Like if you are paying for stuff, you should definitely have a goal in mind. And like followers as a goal, I don't think is a good idea because it's interesting. You can look at like similar size, so like or different. So sometimes I'll like look at bigger creators who have like 1.8 million followers, and I'll look at their reels and my reels, and sometimes we'll have like similar views after 24 hours, even though their audience is like 6 or 7 or 10 times larger than mine, or their followers is. And I think like followers can be misleading because you can have a ton of followers and never reach them.
Yeah.
So I think it really comes down to your content at the end of the day.
That's a good point. I have seen the difference, and sometimes I wonder that as well. I mean, there's people that have, I mean, not even in the millions, but even people that have 10, 15,000, and then the interaction they get with their followers is really not that big.
It's nothing.
It's
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
I've heard that once you pay for ads, that let's say for example Instagram or whatever company, they know that you're willing to pay, and they're willing, or the algorithm or whatever, they're not going to push your content because they're going to pay. They're going to cave. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard people say that. I was like, that's interesting. That's a
conspiracy.
That's a good. Well, that's a good
Yeah.
point
I like
though.
it. Let's get into it.
Yeah,
Conspiracy.
I mean, that's a
theories.
good point though. Like if you pay for it, and obviously they know everything because they control it, so they're gonna pay again, and that's how they're gonna make their money.
I mean, I could see that point of view.
Because they're gonna cave. That's it. And then they say as much as people are consumers in social media, the creators are also consumed because they want you to be on there as well. So they kind of throw you a bone here. You gotta get a lot of views, and then you get that that rush or whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, which is pretty interesting. So I just
Yeah, I think it's interesting because sometimes I will like, this is a good example of a bigger issue where like you can focus on what if I pay for this, what will Instagram do to my account, or what if I edit the title after I launch it, or like what if I launch it then delete the video and have to relaunch it. And what if I change the real picture, like the cover? Like for me, I used to go down those rabbit holes. Like, what if they like tank my account if I make these changes? And it's like, I just stopped. Like after a while, I was like, okay.
You stopped thinking about it, or you stopped doing it?
I stopped worrying about it.
Okay.
I try not to like edit. I try to get things right the first time, so I don't have to edit. But I stopped worrying about it. Like, okay, I screwed up. I'm gonna edit the cover, whatever. Like, I'm just gonna do it, and I like stopped. It's more like they're all distractions. They're all distractions, and what you need to focus on is your work. Like that's what matters. Like, the platforms are gonna do what they're gonna do, and like put out your work, and that's it.
It's very true. Yeah.
That's also an interesting topic as well, because there's been times where I just not even thinking about it when I post a clip on YouTube, and it doesn't do very well, and I'm like, I wonder if it was the title, and I change the title or a hashtag, and then it's like it starts over. It just kind of like gets a little bump.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've done it a couple different times because on a lot of my YouTube shorts that I do, I get movement the first 24 hours. And then after that, I almost get like either zero movement or like maybe 1 or 2 views like every couple weeks. Not even every day or a week. It's like every couple weeks. So I one time I did it, and I changed the hashtag because you know how on YouTube when you do a short, it only lets you do 100 characters, and then after 100 characters you have to delete to stay within that range.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I wonder if I do another hashtag. I'm just gonna do another hashtag while I'm editing the title. And then I got a pretty big movement, and then I thought about it, and a couple of days later I was like, I'm gonna change a hashtag on this video and see if it does anything, and then it did. It like almost restarted the 24-hour.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
That's
interesting that you brought that up.
That is cool, and like I guess I don't want to take away from, like people should experiment with what, like creators should experiment because it's stuff like that. It could be true. Like,
and I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe I just the title was better, and maybe that's
Yeah.
that's the reason why
it's interesting.
it
'Cause,
bumped it up a little bit.
yeah, my YouTube shorts are exactly the same, like hockey stick, and then it hits like around the same views every time, and then dead, and then like either flatline or like tiny bits every once in a while. I think that's like what shorts do, though.
What's your platform that you have harder time with?
It's YouTube.
It's YouTube.
Yeah.
Why do you think?
You know, I've thought about it a lot. And it's like, honestly, I think it's that YouTube is like, for creators, it's monetized the best. Like, getting big on YouTube is huge. It could be like life-changing. So I think that people really focus on YouTube, like creators focus on YouTube. Whereas like if you get big on Instagram, it's great. It's amazing. But you can't monetize it as easily as YouTube. Yeah. So I think that people who are making like really good content tend to want to get big on YouTube, so they put a lot of focus into it.
And it's just so much. I think it's so much different. And when we talk about it, when we post on Instagram, a lot of the people that follow us at first are like friends and family and just people we know, people that know people that we know. So when we're posting, a lot of those people are the ones that are interacting with us. But when on YouTube, I mean, I'm sure there's a few people that will like our stuff, but for the most part, that really is selling to strangers. Putting your content to strangers that you don't know that are gonna follow you. So I don't know. I was watching this a video about YouTube Shorts, and they were saying that YouTube Shorts are like the hardest thing to get to like a bigger level. And what they were saying, because all the videos that I've posted, like the last 5, 6, 7 videos, have about the same amount of views, within like a 50 to 70 range view. But what they were saying is that if you just keep it consistent, they're saying that every time that you get a few more new followers, it will keep putting your new content to those people and more people. It just kind of like a snowball effect essentially. So I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean it's interesting. So I mean, but it's I wanted to pick your brain on your thoughts on YouTube, because I think you're right. I think that monetizing YouTube can be very, very profitable. Yeah, but it's hard.
I would say YouTube Shorts. I do a lot of YouTube Shorts, but you know, from my I think it's like the worst pain if you're like trying to monetize. Like Shorts are the worst place to be unless you're massive, unless you're like getting millions of views on a lot of your videos. Just because I think, you know, I've heard CPMs, like the amount you get paid per view is like really low on Shorts. And then also the following, people who follow from Shorts, I feel like are less like, they're less like invested in your content compared to when you have long form subscribers. Because those people are sticking around for like 2 to 3 minutes or like much longer if you guys are like putting a podcast. And those people tend to be like loyal to the brand. But anyways, a subscribe is a subscribe. Like it's all good. Right. Yeah. I just think they're different. Like a short subscriber versus long form.
I agree with that. Yeah. Are you monetized on YouTube yet?
No.
You're not?
No.
That's hard. I don't even remember off the top of my head, but it's either 2.5 million or 3 million views. 3 million views
in 90 days.
Yeah, in a 3-month period.
What do you mean? 3 million views in 90 days?
Of just short views.
Yeah.
It's either that or long form. I forgot how many.
Long form.
I think it's 1,000 followers
and 4,000 hours.
Yeah, 4,000 within that 3-month period as well.
I think they give you a year for that.
Oh, is it a year?
Yeah,
I don't even remember how much it was.
But yeah,
I mean, have you done the math on that? For Shorts, like how many? When you did the math, what did you think was the easiest thing for you to get monetized? Did you break it down like, if I do one video a week, this video has to get X amount of views, or did you say if I post twice a day, or like how does your brain kind of capture
I don't.
that? You didn't even think.
I don't think about it.
You don't think
Like
about
I'm
it
just
yet.
like, this is a short, this is a long form. But I think I did. So yeah, okay. To me, it doesn't matter. Like to me, it's like I'm gonna make whatever is right for the content,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna do both. I think it's really hard to hit 3 million views in 30 days. I've had one video go off on YouTube on a short, and it's like up to 2 million, I think.
Really?
So I'm like close.
Oh, there you go.
I'm close,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it's gonna. I don't know how much longer I have like to hit that 30-day window. So I'm hoping because it'd be
Yeah.
nice to hit
Yeah, you
it.
need to start
That'd be
bringing
nice.
content
Yeah.
out just to
Yeah.
to get that 3 mil.
That's a good point. But
Yeah.
I don't like that's secondary. Like to me, monetization is secondary to what I started this for. And yes, that is a goal of mine. And yes, I need to make it happen, like to continue to do what I do. So it is a big goal, but like also like I want to stay true to what I'm creating. And that means that I'm not going to like turbo go out and do like 15 portraits and post them all like in 15 days. Like I'm just not going to do that.
Yeah.
30-day challenge.
30
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can't imagine.
I think that's good because you at the end of the day you have to work on your craft and then everything else is just gonna come together. And I think that's what you've been doing, working on your craft, and then little by little you see your results.
Yeah.
I think if you try to chase it the other way, you're on like you said, you're just trying to do it. It just doesn't make sense.
Also, I'll say this: like I've done other content stuff before this, but it was like I had a chess channel. I like to play chess, so I like did a chess channel, and I would say if I had the level of success, and I'd been doing that for like 2 years or something, and I think I had like 500 subscribers on YouTube or something, and if I would have had the level of success I have now on when I just started, like I wouldn't have been ready for it. Like I don't think I would have. I just don't think I would have like reacted to it the same way I do now because I've been doing this type of stuff for years now, and I feel like I had to get to a point where I had to get good at doing this before it like hit right for me. Like I had to go through the growing pains, and then yeah, it's only been 8 months I've been doing this, but like I've been like creating, but in a different sense, right? Chess is so different. But it's different, but it's not different because it's like the content creation is still there, right? And like packaging it and like how do I build this brand kind of thinking.
How long of content was your chest videos?
That was long. So I like they'd be like 30 to 40 minute videos. So like I hit the 4,000 hour watch mark like really quick.
Oh, okay.
And I just like fell out of love with chess though. Like I'd still love chess, but I like didn't want to do it anymore. So I just like stopped. I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, so I just like let the channel. Like every once in a while, I'll post just for fun, and like I'll get like 100 views, and I'm like, okay. Like,
Yeah. I still got it.
yeah. 100 views. There
I
we
still
go.
got it.
Yeah. That's cool. So you play chess?
I've never played. I've never learned. I heard it looks difficult. I don't know.
It's
difficult
it's the
it
worst
is.
game in the world.
Is
They
it?
say you gotta. They say you gotta play that.
It's
Yeah.
tilting.
They say you gotta play that and stay ahead of the game for everything.
Oh,
It helps you with
brutal.
everything.
It's brutal. It's just so hard because like they'll like you have a level, right? So there's like from like 800 to whatever 2,500. There's like a based on your level. So like a beginner would be like an 800 or something. But the thing is, you're always matched against people at your level. So as you move up, you're just always playing people at your level. So your like win rate's like 50% basically. So it can feel like you aren't improving, even though you are. But it's like so tilting. I don't know. I also have like a tilting like when I play, I just get like frustrated.
Are you the guy that gets there late and then the other guy's just waiting for you?
Yeah.
Have you seen that guy?
Uh-uh.
I think he was one of the best chess players out there at the
Oh.
moment. I think you guys have a timer, right? There's a timer.
Yeah. I play all online, but
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well, there's this chess player. I don't know his name, and I think they're like in the, obviously live, and I don't know if once you make a move, does the other player have a certain amount of time?
Yeah. You like hit the timer, and then their time starts going down.
Yeah. So this guy's just waiting, and then he's not there. He just gets there, takes off his jacket, and then there you go, and it starts.
Yeah.
It's funny
it's
though.
like Magnus Carlsen or something.
It's just yeah.
I mean, yeah. People who are really good are like, they can beat you. They don't need the time, like as long as they can move a bit.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. It's such a deep game that like, if you play someone at a higher level, they're gonna destroy you. Like 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, it's a crazy game. That one of the guys that I watched says that a chess master is thinking like 15 moves in advance. For you to have 15 moves in advance in your head, that's high level stuff. That's
it's
crazy.
ridiculous.
That's why I'm saying that
You're already predicting what they're gonna do, and you already know what you're gonna do if they do whatever move they do.
they always say that you have to, or not have to, but you get into chess that way. It helps you, and you're kind of always ahead. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know how to play chess, dude. I stick to checkers.
Yeah, I got some mad checkers games.
It's fun. It's fun. It's a great game.
Yeah.
I'm just joking around that I hate it, but like, there's a part of me that's true though, where I'm just like, God, I hate this game.
Yeah.
Why do I play this?
This guy probably bets on his chess games, and he's just playing it cool. Like maybe these guys will play me right now. Have you seen that with like pool players? They'll go in and then they'll pretend that they don't know how to play, and the next thing you know, they're playing for money, and then boss, they show off their skills.
Oh no, I haven't. No.
Like a rounder or something.
Yeah.
I know, I haven't.
Yeah.
For the people that you approach, has there been? Do you have like any? Do you become friends with any of them? Personal relationship with any people? Like let's say, oh, this guy was a cool guy, or this gal was cool, and
Yeah, I would say it's interesting. Like, definitely, I have hung out with people after. It's especially, I don't know if you saw the painter, Red.
Yeah.
He's like with the mushroom hat,
yeah.
Red Van Gogh.
Yeah.
We've hung out a few times after.
Oh, okay.
And he's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really fun. But like the main thing is I just see everyone I do portraits of around town. So I'm like, when I'm out, I'm like, oh, we did portraits.
Yeah,
oh, what's up?
That's
and
cool.
so it's like, and it happens like all
Yeah.
the time. Because like as I do more, I'm like, oh man. So like it will happen like 2 to 3 times
Yeah.
when I go out. Like people I took portraits of, which I love. That's like the coolest.
I think that's cool.
Yeah. So like we're like friends in that. Like we had that interaction. We had that moment, and like it's captured, it's live. But yeah, it's like it's kind of probably ends there.
Yeah.
Like it's more like a cool acquaintance around town.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
see. That's cool.
I saw the last video you posted with the lady that was waiting for Uber driver. She literally only gave you a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't give you. It's just her Uber ride was like there.
Yeah.
That's hard. And you even said in the video, I think you like typed in there, you're like, we only had like I think it was like a minute and like 15 seconds. or
Yeah,
something
like
that,
the
right?
whole time, like on my GoPro, it was like I talked to her at 30 seconds, and she started running for the Uber at like a minute 45.
Oh, okay.
So it was like a minute and 15 seconds that I was actually talking to her.
Dang.
So and like in that time, I got like I think 2 good portraits of her.
Yeah, it came out good.
Yeah.
I thought it came out. The
I think-
pictures you posted, I thought they came out good.
Yeah.
A minute and 15 seconds.
Yeah, you got to be ready. And what I do, it's like you got to have it dialed in, like ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like
finger on the trigger.
yeah, I'm like I have all my settings like ready to go. I'm
Yeah.
like every time, and I'm like pretty dialed in with the poses that I know will. Not everyone looks good in every pose, but like I can look at someone and like within like 30 seconds, I'm like okay, like I know how to shoot you, kind of thing.
That's kind of what I was curious about. I meant to ask you that. Like, did you learn that, or you've known that before? Like, how to tell
No,
people
it's
pose?
just something I learned,
Something-
and like I trust my intuition. So like I'm shooting,
Yeah.
and like when I first started, I'd be looking, and it'd be so hard to like know. I just didn't have the intuition was right, but I didn't know like how to do it, and it
Yeah.
also was like so overwhelming that I was
Yeah.
just like, look at me, like But now I'm like, when I'm looking now through my viewfinder, I'm like seeing the pictures as like I'm seeing what's gonna come out.
Yeah.
Like I'm in the zone, I'm focused. So now I know like how to
Yeah.
turn someone and like talk to them to get them to move
Yeah.
and get people get the right shot for the person.
I think that's the thing I hate the most about taking pictures, the poses.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we take like family pictures and we have a photographer take the pictures, I feel really like not bad, but I hate being like, oh no, I don't want to do that pose. So then I do it and then I feel awkward.
Yeah. Guys are hard. I gotta say, guys are a lot tougher. And like I've learned like with guys, it's not really about the pose. It's more about like getting them to do actions. So it's like take your coat off. Like, and they're just naturally taking their coat off. You can catch, or like just adjust your collar. Small. It's like guys are like small stuff like that, or like lean back against something. You know, with women, it's like turn your back to me and like look over your shoulder. You know, like it can be dramatic. You know, guys can be dramatic too. It's just it's two totally different things.
It's like that one guy. Okay, Eric.
Yeah, that dude was hilarious.
Okay, Eric. Okay.
I see you looking
like,
good, Eric. I see you.
Yeah, those guys were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other gentleman was a street photographer as well, right?
Yeah. I saw him on the street with his like I love talking to photographers, so I like usually will approach photographers.
Yeah.
And I saw him walking and I was like I have to like turn my GoPro on really quick.
Yeah.
And then he like walked by, saw I was a photographer, and we just photographer code, you know, you both know, and you're like automatically kind of friendly and like
Yep.
those are fun.
Hyping his friend up like that, hell yeah.
That was cool. That was fun.
Those guys were great. So like that's a good example of a video that like when I'm looking at the analytics of it, like that video, the retention, like I really feel retention is one of the biggest metrics to look at. And do you have like a business account where you see retention, the curve?
Yes. And I'm curious on what you're gonna say, because I have like the hardest time like grading myself on the retention. I can look at it, but I look at my video and then I'm like, what could I have done better to like increase that retention? And I've watched videos, but I haven't really found like a good answer for that.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's the answer. It's actually the question that is like that's the big question. Like, how do you increase retention? It's like, well, you get content people want to watch. Like there's an easy answer to it, right? But it's like, how do I do that?
Exactly.
Right? Like, but really that's the question you're always trying to answer with your work. But so like I have noticed, like, because I've had a few videos like go big, and the retention is always the same on those videos.
It is.
Yeah, it's always the same. And it's like, you get your normal drop off after like 3 seconds. So we'll like go down to 70% of people. So like 30% of people have already swiped away in the first 3 seconds. And then you'll like slope down to, let's just say a normal video that for me would get like 70,000 views. It will do your 70% and then it will slope to like 50% by the midway point, and then it drops to 30%, and then like it's at 30% for the last half. Okay, so it's like 30% of people make it all the way to the end. With all of my videos that have like 5 million plus views, I have like 4 of them. They all have the 70% drop, then drop to like 60, and then it's flat from 60 all the way till the end, and the end is like around 50%. So like that 20% difference between 30% of people left and 50, that's like, I think that's it.
But what did you do different?
See, that's the thing. It's just like the content is different. It's like the video, the character, the subject. Like they're unique. All interesting, unique. They're like things that people want to talk about. They want to like open up the comment section, and then like they're scrolling through and like. And sometimes there's like people saying rude stuff, and then there's like a 200 comment thread underneath that, right? Like there's conflict, and that's kind of what I've realized is you can't, like with what I do, you can't make it happen every time. It just is like sometimes it just all goes together right, and you end up with like a really interesting, unique subject. The photos look good, and it's just like a fun video and people want to talk about it.
So you didn't change your approach on approaching the person or anything in your video for that first 5 to 10 seconds?
Well,
You didn't really...
that's not true for one of them.
Uh-huh.
Like the painter one was Red Van Gogh one.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, it was interesting because I saw him walking towards me, and like immediately I was like, oh my god, like I need to get a portrait of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he was probably like a good like 50 yards away from me. I could just like see what he was wearing, kind of, and I was like, all right, this is an obvious like portrait opportunity. So I like turned around. I always try to like turn around so people don't see me like flipping the GoPro on.
Oh yeah.
So I like flip the GoPro on, and then I just like act naturally. And as they approach, he approached, and his line was like, I'm an artist trying to distribute art to the community, right? And like that was the hook. And like usually it's, hey, excuse me, right? Mm-hmm. But for that one, it was like him saying this really interesting thing to me.
Why did he say that though? Did you, when you approached him, did you say anything? Or
no, he just that was because he was like gonna try to sell me some of his art.
Oh. Okay.
So he was like, I'm trying to distribute art to the community. You know, here's my art. Here's everything I painted today, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't have to say anything. I was just like,
great. I'm trying to take a picture of you.
Yeah. So that one was completely different, but like I realized that hook was like perfect. It was like the character and then him saying something that's like super interesting.
That's interesting.
But other times it's just like there's one that got, I think my biggest one's like almost hitting 10 million, and it's a woman and her dog, Roy, like a little mini dog, and it's like in her bag, and it's like super cute, and like the pictures look great, and she's like, she also like wasn't super confident that she'd be photogenic, and then you see these shots where she looks amazing, so it's like that conflict was there. It's all about storytelling. Like the photos are like the cherry on top.
Yeah. That's what everybody says. I guess it's just harder to make that happen within whatever you're doing specifically, right?
It's so hard.
That's the hard part.
It is. Have you ever taken a picture in the street of any family or friends and posted it? Or
No.
What does your family and friends think about what you're doing, or did they say anything?
I get a lot of support. Yeah. I think at first people were like, "What are you doing?" For sure. Like, especially when I had no followers.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, definitely like friends. No one ever like said it really to me, but I could feel that like this is weird, dude. Like, what is happening here?
You're working in marketing now.
This is weird. Like total like curveball here.
Yeah.
But the reality is like I loved it, and I just kept doing it. Because I didn't really, it was like, there's going to be haters. None of my my friends, my family, you know, my partner, they like all support me.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, it's good.
Was it easy for you to buy your camera and gear for you to get started with this journey? Or did you have to like push yourself? Because I feel like some people like us with the podcast, it wasn't like, we talked about it and then we just like did it almost right away. And a lot of people are like, "Oh no, we thought about it for a long time, and then it took a long time for us to."
Oh, I see what you're asking. Yeah. For me, it was like I didn't know I wanted to do portraits, but I knew I wanted to get back into something creative. So it was more just like a week or two to research cameras. But I was like, I'm gonna start doing. I thought I was gonna do video work again. I wanted to do video. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a camera. And then I started researching cameras. So it was like 2 weeks where I like researched cameras and then bought one.
Okay. So it didn't really take you very long. Most of it was just really to research what equipment you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's some advice that you would give someone that's thinking of doing something similar to what you're doing, or just that's trying to pursue a social media, I don't know if you'd consider it if you would call it a career or passion. I guess passion is what I would call it.
To me, it's like, first, you better be passionate about it, because it's hard. and just don't quit, probably, you know, like keep going. If you really love it, you'll keep going regardless, I think. That's it. I think it's just consistency too. Like you have to be consistent, I feel like. And it's like a practice every time. Like you can start out and like where I start, I look at my old stuff and I'm like, wow, I had no idea what I was doing, you know, like, wow, like, and it's only 8 months ago, right? So like I've had a really steep learning curve, but that's because I'm doing it a lot. Like I'm doing it a lot and like learning every time I do one of the videos. So always be learning, like put yourself out there. If you feel uncomfortable, like push through and try to put yourself in like uncomfortable situations and then like push through it and come out the other side.
What do you say to yourself in your head when you're like on the line of asking someone for a portrait and you're like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Is there something that you say that to yourself?
It all goes quiet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like what happens is I get that pulling sensation and then I try to get like a closer look at like I'll try to like be sure. Because like I like to be really confident in that I'm bought in with the subject. So it's like there's been many times where I'm like, oh, like here we go, and then like I get closer, I'm like, oh no, this doesn't feel right, kind of thing. For many different reasons. Like it could be so many different things. Like it could also be like they're with 3 people. Right, that's gonna be like a no-go for me. Like I'm not gonna pull one. I've tried to pull one person out of like 3 people, and that's just not worth it to me anymore. Like it's so, because you want to like you don't want to exclude others. You know, it's kind of a weird.
You're not good looking enough. Sorry.
Well, it's not about like
You're
looks.
not
it's like
unique enough.
yeah, it's not. It's like it's interesting because you bring that up. It's like more like what I want to shoot because like it's just what I want to shoot. It's not about like attractiveness level or anything. It's just like here's what I want to do a portrait of. Like this subject is right for me, and like but the problem is when you have 2 other subjects that aren't right at all for me, it's like then you feel bad like pulling one person out. So I always look for individuals basically who are alone.
Yeah. There's this guy on TikTok. I don't know his name. I don't follow him, but he does a lot of the same thing, right? But he approaches groups and he only takes 1 or 2 people from the group. And then he does do the print like on there and gives them the picture. But yeah, I get your point though. That's kind of interesting. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, it makes it hard.
Yeah.
Like I just don't like it. And to me, it's like I only want to do what I like to. Like there's no point in doing stuff I don't want to do. It's like I'm doing this for fun, so better be someone I'm like really invested in.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were asked like what happens right before. Like literally, I make the decision, and then like everything is calm. Like I'm like, okay, here we go, and it's kind of like I'm jumping in, you know, into the experience. So yeah,
I would be so nervous.
Yeah.
I get the nerves, but like I just like deal with them now.
Yeah.
Because they're always there, kind of you're like approaching a stranger. You can feel it. But now I just like ride with it. I'm like, okay, here we go, and like the nerves don't affect me the same way.
Damn.
But it still happens. I'm still like, oh, the heartbeat.
I hear that from anybody, whatever they do. They're like, it doesn't matter how long they've been doing it. I still kind of, they say, I get nervous. It's just, experience and over time.
It's like, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
Like,
they'll say no?
Yeah, I mean, that's it.
He get punched in the face.
I mean, yeah.
Get away from me.
Happen, but like, no.
Have you had anybody be aggressive towards you just by approaching them?
Once.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't an approach. It was candid. So like that's a little different because
that's what that. I don't know what that exactly that means. That's just
candid.
That you're just doing street photography.
Yeah, I'm not like asking people.
Okay.
So I'm just like I see a scene that I like and there's people in it and I take a photo.
Okay.
And they might not want their photo taken, right?
I see.
But people, that's like what street photography is, right? That's the whole art of street photography. But yeah, it can create hostility in people who like don't want their picture taken, which is totally understandable. I get it.
Yeah.
but also it's like freedom of artistic expression, and like street photography is an art, and we live in America where you can do that legally. So,
True.
it is what it is. But yeah, one time I took a candid shot of someone approaching me, and someone off to the side saw and didn't like the fact that I did that, and they got like super aggressive, and they were like, "I'm gonna break your camera."
This one guy took a picture of us. Remember, we were walking downtown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then he took a picture of us walking, and this other guy. And the other guy got mad. Do you see that guy just take a picture of us? And I was like, I don't care, dude. What am I gonna tell him? Like, I don't.
I think that one was a little weird though, because I don't think he was taking a picture of like the whole scene. He was like literally taking pictures of people.
Yeah.
Like, I can see how someone would feel uncomfortable.
I 100% agree, and I think like for me, when if you look at my street photography, it's always like a scene and then someone like blending into the scene. It's never like I'm never like up in someone's face.
That's different.
Like if you look at my street stuff, it's like you can barely even make out facial features. Like especially like my St. John stuff, they're like 100 yards away under the bridge, and that's what I want. Like I want to show the scale of the bridge with the person, and like they're alone and there's no cars. It's like a cool shot.
Yeah.
You know, to me that's what I like in the street photography, and like I don't like. That's why I love portraits. It's because like I'm asking for their consent, and then like we're having that interaction and creating this moment and capturing it. And both sides are like on the same page, so there's no conflict. Yeah. So I really like that.
Most people probably get excited. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna post this?"
I think so. It's weird because like if someone did it to me, I wouldn't be. I'd be like,
I was about to ask that.
Yeah.
Would you let someone just take your picture if they were to approach you?
I would nowadays, like, just because I've done it a lot. Like now, what I mean is like, I've done portraits of photographers, and then they always want to do a portrait of me, and I'm like, all right. Like, even though like I don't really want to, I'm like, okay, let's do it. You know,
he said yes to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you let someone take your picture if they approached you?
Yeah, I think it just depends how they would approach me. But most likely, yeah. I mean, I think I have a hard time in my head thinking why I would say no to someone.
Yeah. Okay.
I respect the hustle, you know.
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't care.
You said no to me earlier, dude.
Did I?
Yeah.
No, that's
He
a
was
hard
being
start.
rude, dude.
That's a hard start.
I was being rude.
We recorded it like 6 different times, and he was being rude all 6 times. I'm like, dude, this is not a challenge. Dude. I don't have to sell you on this.
You're like 0 for 1.
Yeah, I know. Dang, dude, this is rough.
Like, this is hard.
I don't have a feature in this living.
And we know each other.
That's a rough living.
Yeah, we were just down the alley doing that. It's funny.
That's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that. At first, I was like, "Wait, what's happening in this video?" Like, oh, okay, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had my stats. Like, I wish I had like my full 200 yeses, 35 no's. That'd be cool to see.
That would be interesting.
But
you
I
should do
don't.
that when you go to a new city.
Yeah.
Just start fresh.
It's too I don't want to mark it down every time.
No?
You know. I do keep all my no's though. I have videos of all my no's.
You ever post
That
your
would be
nose?
cool.
No, I'm not gonna.
No?
No?
Well, I've thought about
Of all your nose.
all my no's.
Yeah,
in
all your
one.
no's
That
in
would
one
be
video.
depressing.
No,
I mean, entertaining for people.
Yeah.
Sad music in the background.
Dude, my no's are
Rain.
entertaining. That would make awesome
A
content.
little
Yeah.
heart that's
Yeah.
broken.
Dude, we need it to get to 3 billion.
But I feel like it's kind of a break in everything I'm stand for
No,
in my
no,
account,
just
you know?
giving you a hard time.
But you know what I mean. Like,
yeah.
if I blurred their face, maybe, but then that's the whole fun of it.
Yeah.
Seeing their reaction and stuff.
Yeah. You don't want people to go antagonize them or anything.
Yeah.
Hey, she said no to him.
Yeah. That's not what I do.
Yeah.
But I keep them just because it's my stuff, so it's okay,
Yeah.
it's interesting. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna ask a few questions, just fun questions. Cool. So let's just start off with would you rather have the power of super strength or the power of super speed?
Wow. I think strength. Just because I don't know. I just picture myself bending things that shouldn't bend, and I'm like, that'd be cool. But speed also, I don't know. I'll
That
go
was
strength.
tough.
I'll go
Strength?
strength. Yeah.
You?
I want to like pick up cars and stuff. You could do cool stuff.
I'd go with speed.
Speed,
Yeah, just be more productive.
productive.
Yeah,
Would you rather have the ability to teleport anywhere or read minds?
Oh man, definitely read minds. I mean, that would be intense.
That would be.
Can you
intense.
turn it off though?
I
Like
was
I
gonna
only want to
say,
read minds sometimes.
yeah.
If
This-
you can't turn it off, then
That's
you,
wild.
That
is
sounds like a
wild.
nightmare. Yeah. So if
Read
you can turn
minds?
it off, read minds.
Read minds.
I would teleport.
Teleport.
I don't think you want to know what people are thinking 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You got to turn it off. Though.
you gotta you
Turn
have
it
to
off,
turn
turn
it
it off.
for sure.
Teleport. Yeah, I would say teleport as well.
Or, ooh, actually, yeah. No. There's something about not knowing someone else's mind too. So these are hard. Okay.
I guess let's keep it with the teleport stuff. Would you rather be able to teleport back in the days or in the future, like time travel?
Ooh. Oh man, that's so.
So
hard. These
would
are
you
so
rather
hard.
time travel back in
Or-
history or future?
I would go back.
Why?
I feel like the future, our kids' kids are gonna know all about us because we have social media, and we document our journey pretty well. But I get really curious about my grandparents and my grandparents' grandparents and how they lived and what that was like. And we don't have pictures and we don't have. I'm just curious to see what it was like.
You know what I saw the other day? I don't know if it was a podcast or they say that we're actually going to be able to remember more things in the 80s and 90s than now, even though we have more cameras and pictures everywhere because
Really?
everything's digital. That's what there was like some sort of like someone was talking about it on the podcast. I don't know why they came up with that, but they were saying back then you kind of had everything. It was like what you call it, physical, so like written hard books,
The
and
actual
now
pictures.
it's all digital. So it's like you don't know if you're gonna have all this. You don't know if everything's gonna get deleted, so you won't remember that. You're not gonna have a hard copy of any of it. So they're saying eventually in the future you're gonna be able to remember for us in the 80s and 90s than what we're living.
I can see that. I mean, when was the last time you went through your photo gallery?
I go with my photo guy all the time.
But from pictures over a month ago? Or
Yeah,
2
all the
months ago?
time.
Really?
Yes.
I never do.
And I print my pictures too. I've always
You
been printing
too?
my pictures. Yeah.
Wow. Printing,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I've printed my pictures. It's one thing I want to do too. I saw it's every time we travel or just go on vacation or with family, I want to like obviously we all take pictures. There was an idea where you just take pictures in that vacation or that time you traveled. You would print it in a little book, and you would kind of write the title. You know, the day that we went to Seattle, the day that we went here, or whatever. It's actually pretty cool. Since I print pictures, I thought it was pretty cool. So pretty interesting to keep. But let's go back. So
Okay, so I would want to go back in time, but I'd want to go to like before civilization.
Okay.
I just want to see like how people were living when they were in like small communities. So I'd just be interested, and I'd want to see like how happy people were, you know, before they had any comforts, or maybe they had comforts and like it's just different than what we have today. But that's what I'd love to like see what people were living like, and maybe they were like super happy all the time, even though their living situation's not like what we have today.
I think they were happier than us.
Maybe.
less distractions.
so.
You know,
Yeah.
more of
Yeah.
They
that.
were actually living the
That-
moment.
that's
Yeah.
it's a whole different story too. But do you believe in flat Earth?
No.
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 Do you?
No.
Okay.
You're a flat earther, huh?
I don't think I believe it, but the only reason people question it is because there's no what you call it. The information they're giving us is the information we know, but there's no true why is there a flat. Does that make sense? The only reason people question the Earth is because there is no I guess other information for flat Earth. I don't know if I make sense. I'm not making sense.
To me, it's like I've just never looked into it. So I guess,
Yeah, me
and
neither.
I'm also not a scientist. So even if I looked into it, I wouldn't really understand probably. And that's what's like I'd be fearful of is like, because I know like the way people can like twist things to make you believe something, and it's like I just don't know. I'm not.
That's
I'm not
tough.
Gonna,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to make a decision.
Before we wrap it up,
Go.
where does your name come from? Pale, the blue waves, or
PaleBlueWave. So Pale Blue is a reference to Carl Sagan, who he wrote a book called Pale Blue Dot about Earth, and then so I was really inspired by him as a young, like not young, but like at a certain point in my life where I was experiencing like this. I was like realizing how crazy it is to be alive on Earth, and I was like, wow, like, and it all kind of blended together with Carl Sagan. And then the wave is just like a metaphor for life in general. Like sometimes you're riding high, sometimes you're getting like smashed across the rocks, beat up pretty hard. So yeah, that's what Pale Blue Wave is.
okay, yeah, interesting.
I was way off.
Yeah?
I would not have guessed that.
He's like surfer or something.
No, I didn't think it was a surfer, but like pale blue, like there's a lot of different colors of blue, and I don't know. I was just like, mentally, I was just way off. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool. We're done.
there we go.
Cool.
Yeah, you got anything else to say?
No, we appreciate you coming
Yeah.
down, man. I
Thank
know.
you for having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you driving down from Portland,
Yeah.
taking time out of your day to come out, getting to know about the man behind the camera.
Yeah. This was really fun. Yeah, thank you for having me.
No, yeah, appreciate you coming through, man.
Yeah.
Like
This is
it.
great.
Wish you the best, and I see you're growing really fast. Hopefully, that just keeps going.
Yeah, you guys too.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's. I'm looking forward to watching you guys grow. And,
Appreciate that.
Yeah, we can talk more about content creation sometime.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. You can always message me and stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There we go.
Let's go.
Bam.
All right. Cheers.